Well, recently some big news had dropped from, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Now, Mark Zuckerberg and a lot of people during the time of the pandemic was saying that they were being heavily censored on social media and many social media websites. If you even mention anything about the pandemic at that time period, you would get your channels taken down very easily. I've seen people lose their whole channel by just having opinions about the particular things that was going on during the pandemic, especially if you spoke on the treatments they were given at that time. Now, recently, Mark Zuckerberg posted a letter actually exposing what everybody was saying. See, back then when people was talking about the censorship, they were saying, oh, y'all just being some conspiracy theorists. Well, let's go ahead on and look at together the letter that Mark Zuckerberg actually put up here. So let's go ahead and look at this on the screen. So it says, Chairman Jordan, I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. As you are aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents as part of your investigation and made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. Further to our cooperation with your investigation, I welcome the opportunity to share what I've taken away from this process. There's a lot of talk right now around how the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. Is that we're about promoting speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way. As part of this, we regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns around public discourse and public safety. He continues to say in 2021, senior officials from the Biden-Harris administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor our certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire. So the Biden-Harris administration wanted even humor. That's crazy. Not, gross misinformation or disinformation, but even humor. That's crazy. And expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take content down. And we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. He said, I believe the government pressure was wrong. And I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. He said, I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight, new information, we wouldn't make today. Yeah, a lot of things that people claim was conspiracy theory and misinformation came out to be true. That's why he's saying that. He said, like I said to our teams, he said, at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction. And we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. He said, in a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, it said, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation. In retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. He said, we've changed our policies and processes to make sure, he said, this doesn't happen again. For instance, we no longer temporarily demote things in the U.S. while waiting for fact checkers. Apart from the content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. So the idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they need to help people vote safely during the global pandemic. I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. He said they were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analysis I've seen showing otherwise, he said, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other. My goal is to be neutral and not to play a role one way or another, or even appear, it said, to be playing a role. So I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. Respectively, Mark Zuckerberg. Well, Mark Zuckerberg had to come out and admit that the Biden-Harris administration pressured them to censor content. Censorship is illegal in that realm, and the government can't be censoring things. But what the Biden-Harris administration was doing was using a third party, which is Facebook, or the social media platforms, to carry out their censorship campaigns. You understand? And y'all want to go put the woman that was behind the censorship in office? You want to reward her with that? It's a lot of things more going to be coming out. Why do you think now Mark Zuckerberg is talking? I'm gonna tell you a little bit why he's talking, because of X. Because X is a platform now where more people can say things that they couldn't say before. Because before Elon Musk took over X, it's a whole lot you couldn't say on that platform. Some of the direction of it I don't like. For instance, there's a lot of anti-black racism on X now. You can say they say the N-word all day long, but if you say something about another group, it could be taken down. I've been seeing that. Of course, I don't refer to people's, groups by slurs or any other name like that. I don't do that. But, hey, I don't think slur of any kind should be accepted from no group of people on no platform. That's just how I feel. And I feel that way even when black people say the N-word. I feel that shouldn't be allowed on any platform either, period. No slurs of any kind, no matter what it is. Some black people may disagree with me about that, but I just don't like it. I think we can address each other, call each other brother and sister, king, queen. There's a lot of things you can call each other that's positive, that's not negative. But Mark Zuckerberg is out here telling now, Mark Zuckerberg, maybe this is a good lesson, because it's like this. Ain't no way I'm about to censor some content, because censoring content is hurting my bottom line. If I got a social media page, a website, and people uploading and they getting ad revenue from these uploads, so I'm going to censor somebody making millions of views, that hurts my bottom line. Why I'm going to hurt my business because of what you don't like? Like, hey, if they're not breaking the law, what they're saying, like, are they breaking the law? Are they doing anything against the law? If they're not breaking the law, then hey, leave me alone. It's the bottom line. But hopefully, these platforms understand that. Because at the end of the day, these platforms exist because the people own them. And, any of these platforms will go the way of MySpace. If you remember MySpace was the hot thing, and then people can leave it. You know what I'm saying? And Facebook worried right now anyway because of TikTok and all these other platforms that's coming out. So, yeah, that's, the Biden-Harris administration, we got to remember censorship. You got to remember they had mask mandates. People lost their jobs underneath the Biden-Harris administration. Lost their jobs. Y'all need to remember that when y'all go vote in November.